What is up, you guys? Hope all is well with you all tuning in here today. You guys know we got a giant fight card taking place, and more specifically, a big-time main event in Francis Ngannou versus Ciryl Gane, UFC 270, taking place this upcoming Saturday. We got the UFC embedded videos being pumped out to us. We had that awesome UFC countdown show that the UFC put together. I know you guys are feeling the same type of energy that I am going into this fight card. Very, very excited for it. I know you guys are as well. But I wanted to take some time here to talk about a fight that just took place this past Saturday. Calvin Kattar versus Giga Chikadze. This is a fight that I feel is really being overlooked, and specifically because of the reason of having such a giant fight taking place just the next weekend, that everybody's so focused on this upcoming main event that we didn't really take the time to reflect on the performance that Calvin Kattar just put on. If you look at the circumstances that he had to deal with going into that fight, you guys remember the story. He fought about a year ago to the date. He was the first main event fight of 2021, and he absolutely got beat down by Max Holloway in a brutal way. And he had to know that he was scheduled to be the next main event of the following year after a super long layoff and all that. He was the first main event of 2022. You could imagine the nerves that he had to deal with. I want to talk a little bit about the performance that he put on and how it translates to us all as human beings, not just in regards to fighting, but how it translates to just living your life every day and the momentum that you can take from within, the mental strength that you can use to reach your goals and whatnot. And I want to talk about the performance that Calvin put on. So let's reflect on that fight here. Now, you guys all remember the matchup. First main event fight of 2021, Calvin Kattar taking on Max Holloway. Striker versus striker. We were all so excited for this matchup here. Calvin had a lot of momentum going in this fight. He had everything to gain. If he was able to go in there and take out a guy like Max Holloway, it was going to do wonders for his career and where he was at in regards to the division. You guys all know it did not go his way, but it was a lot more than just not going his way. He got beat down. He got beat down in a brutal way. He was bloodied up, butchered. His brain was rattled. Calvin's heart was so big that he continued to walk forward and take really a lot more damage than he probably even needed to take. There was a lot of things going against him there too. A lot of people thought the fight should have been stopped. I believe Herb Dean was the ref there, if I remember correctly. But a lot of people thought the fight could have potentially have been stopped, and he just did enough to continue the fight a couple times. So it really wasn't playing out in a good way for Calvin as far as his health goes and his longevity in the sport. You gotta imagine this did take some time off of his MMA career, and who knows what type of long-term damage it did to his health. But you don't go in there and get beat down like that and just walk out of that unfazed. We're talking about permanent type of damage in a fight like that. You have to imagine that Calvin's ego was bruised in a major way too. If you guys remember, Max Holloway was yelling at him, "I'm the best boxer in MMA." He was talking to him while he was beating him down. You guys would have to imagine that Calvin left the fight that day and had to have felt some type of depression, for a lack of a better word. And I don't want to assume that he was going through any type of depression. I'm not saying that, but for a lack of a better word, he was down in the dumps, had to be somewhat depressed a little bit. I mean, I could imagine getting back home after that type of fight, feeling the physical pain, the mental pain, the embarrassment of being kind of yelled at in the middle of your fight and beat down like that. And of course, Max is a class act, but this one was a rough one. All right. Now imagine all that happens. You take a year off from the sport, and then you're matched up with Giga Chikadze for the first main event fight card, or first main event fight of 2022. Can you imagine from a mental standpoint what Calvin's feeling and where he's at from a confidence standpoint? I feel like a lot of other men would definitely have some major doubts in themselves, and they would be a little shooken up going into that situation. You see how the world kind of turned on him to an extent, right? Calvin, a guy that even in the Max Holloway fight wasn't really much of an underdog. Now he goes into this Giga fight. He's a big time dog. Giga was a -250 favorite in that fight that took place last weekend. Giga Chikadze, one of the most nasty strikers in the game going into that fight, and he still is. But talking about from a standpoint of going into that fight, this is who Calvin Kattar's facing. None of this phases Calvin. Calvin goes into the fight last weekend, and he continues to march forward and just put a beat down on Giga Chikadze. You have to take something from this performance. We could all take a little something from this. I mean, Calvin walked Giga down, used his boxing just like he did in his previous fights, used the elbows, all that, and it was just an outstanding performance. And, on a recent episode, Chael Sonnen said this was the greatest bounce back fight that he has ever seen in MMA. Now, I do want to take this time to shout out a couple other guys that had some big time bounce back fights. If you guys remember, Junior Dos Santos took one of the worst beatings that we've ever seen in MMA against Cain Velasquez in the second fight. Now, do remember JDS won that first fight. Fight only lasted seconds. First fight card that actually took place on Big Fox. It was a big event for MMA as a whole. And JDS got that quick knockout. In the rematch, things did not go like that. Cain Velasquez put an absolute beatdown on JDS, and in my opinion, that might have been the worst beatdown that we've ever seen in the sport, especially when you're talking about the power that the heavyweight fighters have. And JDS, he took some serious damage in that fight. And in my opinion, if JDS and Cain Velasquez fought 100 times, I think that Velasquez is winning at least 80 of them, at least back in that time frame. But what does JDS do after that fight? He bounces back with the spinning, they call it a spinning hook kick or a spinning heel kick, lands it on Mark Hunt. I mean, the audacity to throw out a move like that. His mental toughness was really showcased that night as well. So major shout out to JDS. I challenged Chael Sonnen, and he said that there was really no performance that compared to what Calvin Kattar did. I also want to give respect to JDS for that performance. And I also want to give respect to Brian Ortega. Max Holloway, it's kind of a theme of his career, just putting a beat down on these guys and giving them opportunities to try to bounce back. Brian Ortega is a guy that did that. After he got brutally beat down by Max Holloway, he bounced back with a very nice performance against the Korean Zombie. So shout out to those two guys. If you guys can think of any other fights or any other fighters I'm not remembering that had amazing bounce back fights, comment them below, because it's really a great sight to witness in the cage, man. I love to see guys bounce back like that. But again, Calvin Kattar, a little bit overlooked because of the big fight that's coming up here with Francis Ngannou and Cyril Gane. But major respect to Calvin Kattar. The guy is a warrior. I cannot wait to see him step back in there. Now, I just want to talk about this for a second and how these types of fights can relate to our lives as a whole. As MMA fans, I feel like a lot of people overlook the fact that we love watching these guys go in there and go to war and put everything on the line, because it does translate to our everyday lives in a lot of ways. We could really take something from what these guys do out there, guys and girls. And this was the type of performance that we really need to take a look at. You can compare this to yourself in a lot of ways, right? If some of you guys are out there right now and you're trying to get something going, we all talked about the 2022 goals. I know it's already been a couple weeks since New Year's, so a lot of you guys are forgetting them. But if you guys can remember what you're trying to accomplish this upcoming year and what you can accomplish within a year, there's so much you can gain within a year. You can completely change your life within a year. Calvin Kattar really showcased that. From him being disrespected as a pretty solid underdog in a fight against Giga, wait till you see the betting line in his next fight. People are going to start to recognize and respect him once again. He's going to try to make a push towards a title fight. Once again, he's back on track. He has everything to gain moving forward. And he is where he is now by not giving up on himself, staying on track. I'm sure he had a very organized an organized list of what he wanted to do in order to get to his end goal. Or, of course, he's not at his end goal right now, but taking that next step to move towards his end goal. I'm sure he had a great year of training. After he took that loss to Max Holloway, he went right back to the drawing board, right back to the gym, and he got to the grind, got back to his grind and pushed forward. So we could all take something from that. If you had a little mishap or something went wrong in your life, you should never give up on yourselves. You should, stay structured, figure out what you need to do to get back on track to what your end goal is. I have a lot of things I'm working on this year. I could speak from myself. You guys know I'm trying to get this channel to grow and get bigger and bigger. I have a lot of things I'm trying to work on as a whole. Got the studio and all that on the way, but I'm trying to get more content out to you guys. I got some other things from that I'm working on from a personal standpoint. You know, I'm in good shape. Don't get it twisted, but you know, I do want to get back into the type of shape I was in a few years ago. I want to get the 6-pack back, the 8-pack, whatever you want to say. I don't know if you can count it as an 8-pack, you know, those little ones at the bottom. But I'm still in good shape, but I'm trying to get back in phenomenal shape. I'm trying to feel great about myself. I'm expecting a big 2022. And these are the types of fighters that I take something from when I watch them. Calvin Kattar, this guy gained massive respect for me. Not as if I didn't have any before, but he definitely took a step up in respect. He's slowly becoming one of my favorite fighters in the game. And I think that all of you guys, no matter what you're going through, just get the train back on the track, figure out what you guys want to have done, at least by the end of the year, and then you could do the same the following year. You know, it takes incremental steps towards your end goal, and don't give up on yourself, and you can make anything happen. So let's all remember that, guys. Appreciate every single one of you guys tuning in here to the video. You guys know I got a great deal of love for you guys, so I want to see everyone that's watching these videos stay structured with your goals, and I want to see you guys do big things. Okay, all of you guys, man. Anyone that's sitting here still listening to me talk right now, I really want nothing more than to see you guys thrive and do everything you want to do in your life. You know, you only get one life. You're blessed with this beautiful life. It flies by. Don't waste your time. You gotta really make sure you're beneficial with your time. You got to make sure that you're really using it the right type of way. Don't waste your time, because these days are flying by. And if you're caught snoozing on your phone, messing around on IG, or sitting around on YouTube too much, you're going to really lose a lot of that quality time that you could be grinding and sharpening up your skills to get the big things done. All right, guys? So hopefully this video will help inspire some of you guys out there and help you guys get to your end goal and just make your week better. All right, guys? I'm very excited for the upcoming main event too. I do want to brush upon that real quick. Francis Ngannou versus Ciryl Gane. I'm very excited. I know you guys are as well. Let's see how that fight plays out, and it's going to be a good one. Catch me on Instagram, MMA Fortune Teller _. I'll have some content coming to you guys throughout the week as always. I appreciate every single one of you guys. If I could ever do anything to help out in regards to anything, not just from an MMA standpoint or betting, shoot me a message, man. I'm all ears to all you guys. So appreciate you guys. And on that note, signing out, Teller.
The MMA Fortune Teller.
The teller.